So this is my inheritance program project. It models a grading system using inheritance and polymorphism, and it uses a standard grading system, A through F, pass-fail grading system for passing and failing. And this is my CMake lists text, which configures the build, listing all the CPP files to compile. I've already used the build to compile all of them, so we'll just quickly run it, show what it does. Yeah, so test 1 has a score of 88.0 with a grade B, test 2 with a score of 75.0, grade P for passing. So test 1 uses standard grading, using the A through F scale. Test 2 uses a passing and scoring system. And yeah, so we'll go through the code in an order using the hierarchy, the class hierarchy, starting with the base class, and then we'll go derive classes helpers, and then the driver. So for the graded activity file, we have the base class defining the foundation for all the graded activities, and we have a header guard that prevents the multiple inclusions of the file. We define a graded activity class with a protected score variable that stores the score as a double value. And then we have a default constructor which initializes the score to 0.0. We have a parameterized constructor, sets the score to a given value. And then we have a method, setScore, that sets the score. And then we return the score and use it as a constant, so there's no errors. And then we have a virtual function which returns the letter grade, and then the derived classes can override it for polymorphism. And we'll go to the CPP file for graded activity, and this implements the base class methods from graded activity, the H file. So we have the header file for the class definition. We define getLetterGrade, which assigns the letter grade to, or based on the score, using a variable to store it. And we assign the letter grade based on the score, so A if it's greater than 89, B greater than 79, and so on and so forth. And then we return the computed grade. Then we go to the pass-fail activity file, and this inherits from the graded activity to add the pass-fail grading. So we have the base class header to inherit from graded activity. We define the class. Pass-fail activity inherits publicly from the graded activity. And then we have a protected variable that stores the minimum passing score. And we have a default constructor which initializes the base class and sets the minimum passing score to 0.0. We have a constructor, parameterized constructor, that sets the minimum passing score to a given value. And then we have a method that sets the minimum passing score. Then we return the minimum passing score, and we have it as a constant. And then we have a virtual function that overrides the base getLetterGrade to return passing or failing, P or F as passing or failing. And we have the pass-fail activity CPP, where we implement the fail grading logic. And for the header, we include the class definition. And for this override, we define the getLetterGrade method which declares a variable for the grade, and we assign P if a score meet or exceeds the minimum passing scores, and we assign F if the score is below it, and we return the grade. As we can see in test 2, passes, so it's P. And then we have the pass-fail exam file, which inherits from the pass-fail activity, H file, and it adds the exam-specific details for test 2. And we have the base class header. As I said, it inherits from the pass-fail activity. We define the class, pass-fail exam, which inherits from pass-fail activity. Store the number of questions in the exam as an integer. We store the points per question as a double value. We store the number of questions missed, integer. Then we have a default constructor which initializes the base class and sets the members to 0. We have a parameterized constructor which initializes the base and calls set with questions and missed. And then we have another method to set the exam details, calculate the scores, and we return the number of questions as a constant, return points per questions as a constant, and return the number of questions missed as a constant. And then for the pass-fail exam CPP, we use the set method to calculate the score, the header for the class definition, and then we define the set, declare a variable for the calculated score, and we store the number of questions, store the number of questions missed, and then we calculate the points per questions, 100 divided by the number of questions, and we calculate the score, 100 minus the missed questions, times points each. So for test 2, it's 100 questions, 25 missed, gives us 75. And then we set the score in the base class, which is the graded activity. Then we have the helper, H file, which declares a function for displaying the grades. In the header guard prevents multiple inclusions. We have the graded activity header for the class definition. We declare display grade, taking a graded activity pointer for polymorphism. And then we have the CPP, where we implement the display grade to display the scores and grades. We have the headers for the function declarations, IO stream for console output, IO man IP for formatting output. We define the display grade function. We set the output to 1 decimal place in a fixed notation. And then the output, the numeric score using getScore. And then we output the letter grade using getLetterGrade and polymorphism for both test 1 and 2. And then finally for the driver CPP, the main program to put it all together, IO stream, IO man IP, and we have the pass-fail exam header for the pass-fail exam class, and then we have the helpers to include the header for the helper functions. Then we have the main function, create test 1 as graded activity with a score of 88.0. Create test 2 with 100 questions, 25 miss, 70 as a passing score. Then we display the header for test 1, call the display grade for test 1, and that would output 88 in B. And then we put a new line in the header for test 2, and we call the display grade for test 2, which outputs 75 in P for passing, using the polymorphism. And that would be the end of the function. Yeah.